What is up, guys? Rick Cacus here, and today we are going to be discussing what is really the last hidden exotic in Destiny, the Dubious Volley rocket launcher. Now, this weapon has a very interesting history that has actually gotten a lot more interesting in only the past few days. We're going to talk about all of that, but firstly, let's talk about what exactly a hidden exotic is in Destiny. A hidden exotic is really just an exotic weapon or armor piece that we know about but currently isn't in the game. Now, how do we find out about these weapon or armor pieces if they're not in Destiny? Well, normally it's through data mining. People look into the game files, they look into the Destiny database and find information, images, perks on these weapons, and then, post that information for the public, while all the while that exotic isn't available to get in game. There's actually been a lot of hidden exotics within Destiny. In fact, most of the exotic armor added into Destiny with the Rise of Iron. The Thagomizers, the Dune Marchers, the Frosties, the Transversive Steps, all of that stuff was all at one point hidden exotics. Originally, they were supposed to be added with the Taken King. They were found out through data mining, and very soon after, and very embarrassingly, all of those armor pieces were actually available to view in the Destiny Armory. So you could literally go to the official Bungie website, look at the Destiny Armory, and it would show you the Thagomizers. It would show you a picture of them, it would show you all their perks, it would show you even what they look like on your Guardian, but they weren't in the game. Obviously, people started to ask the question, why aren't they in the game? Or are these, do we have to do some sort of quest to get these? Are they something like the Black Spindle, where I have to do a crazy mission or something that no one knows about? Bungie decided to change all of these exotic armor pieces on the armory so they were marked classified until the Rise of Iron came along and they were actually added into the game. So that is really what hidden exotics are. They're, again, stuff that we've found out about, we know about, but currently you can't get in Destiny. Now, the interesting thing about hidden exotics is that a lot of them, although they were cut from the game at various points for various reasons, they all seem to make their way back into Destiny. That point is going to become more relevant later in the video, but firstly, let's talk about specifically the Dubious Volley. It was one of the many hidden exotics that came with the Taken King expansion. In fact, pretty much all of the hidden exotics in Destiny's history were supposed to come with the Taken King. Bungie must have made, or at least thought about making, a lot of exotics and then cut a big chunk out of the game. However, this was a time when some of the exotics were kind of hidden, and what I mean by that is something like the Sleeper Simulant. We knew about it, we kind of data mined it, and it was shown off in promotional images, all of that stuff, but you couldn't get it in the game initially. Turns out it was just kind of time gated, and eventually you were able to do the proper exotic quest to actually get that weapon. That, and the Black Spindle was a kind of a hidden exotic as well. The No Time to Explain, same story there. So there's a lot of confusion around a lot of these hidden exotics because some of them were locked behind secret missions. So we really didn't know which exotics were just cut from the game and which ones were actually in the game, but we just didn't know how to get them. Turns out pretty much all of them were just cut from the game, and there was only the handful I mentioned that were actually locked behind secret quests. In any event, for the Dubious Volley, this image here was really one of the first images showcasing this exotic rocket launcher. It showed some of the exotics already in Destiny, like the Super Good Advice, the Thunderlord, and the Dragon's Breath. It showed some of the exotics that would later come with the Taken King expansion, like the 2 exotic swords, and then, of course, it showed some exotics that never made it into the Taken King. One of those clearly being the Dubious Volley rocket launcher. Now, interestingly enough, we actually got an official response from Bungie with this image. Someone tweeted this image out, and Luke Smith, one of the main developers at Bungie, actually responded to it saying, Look, this is just a cut exotic, nothing more than that. Don't expect to see it back into the game, don't expect that it's hidden behind some sort of quest, and don't expect the Galahorn 2.0. Basically, this was something that the Bungie staff was saying a lot of at the time. In fact, yes, there was a time where the Bungie staff was absolutely insistent that the Galahorn was left behind for a reason. It was just too powerful, and we wanted people to experience more and different exotics, and therefore leaving it behind was the right thing to do. Turns out they decided to make a new expansion with the Rise of Iron and needed a poster child weapon that every Destiny fan would know and every Destiny fan would want, hence the remade Galahorn. Now, if we go back to Luke Smith's tweet, he was definitely being very dismissive. Look, this was just cut from the game, data files are not promises. And he is absolutely right on that factor. You know, this weapon could have been cut from the game for whatever reason. Maybe they couldn't get the perks to work right, maybe it would cause your game to crash or something, maybe it just wasn't balanced. Whatever it was cut. And again, data files are not promises. There's no reason to think that they would ever reintroduce this weapon. Well, at the time, there definitely wasn't reason to think so. But literally every other hidden exotic was added back into Destiny. The Thagomizers, the Dune Marchers, all of that stuff was added into Destiny with the Rise of Iron expansion. And look at the two exotic weapons right beside the Dubious Volley. It's the Nova Mortis and the Abbadon. Literally, these are them right beside. Now, of course, they were kind of remade and their images updated with the Dawning, but there they are, all the way back from the Taken King expansion. We knew about them because they were hidden exotics. So, if every other exotic has been added back into the game, if every hidden exotic that has been data mined has been added eventually into Destiny, doesn't it stand to reason that the last one, the Dubious Volley, will eventually finally make its way back into Destiny? I mean, for goodness sakes, you can't leave just one out of the game. And actually, what would the Dubious Volley exotic rocket launcher look like if it was introduced into Destiny? Well, we kind of know that question because not only were we able to data mine that image, but we also were able to data mine the perks of the Dubious Volley, so we actually know its exotic perks. So let's start out with the first exotic perk, Dubious Ordnance. This weapon delivers a high-energy volley of explosive ordnance. So that says to me that this weapon is shooting multiple rockets at the same time. That is really a volley in and of itself. The definition of a volley, it's shooting multiple things. In fact, if you look at the image, it really looks like it has all of these holes in kind of the ball at the end of it, and these holes would make sense to shoot out kind of mini rockets, each one doing a little bit of damage, maybe kind of shooting out like Wolfpack rounds almost. Maybe they would seek out an opponent, maybe they would just kind of fan out and decimate an entire area with explosions, but in any event, it sounds very cool. This weapon actually has a second exotic perk as well. It's called Dubious Munitions. Kills from the volley add another round to the volley. Now that sounds really interesting. So maybe if you're shooting out a volley of rockets, it's going and it's shooting out like all of these rockets, and you're killing thralls. For every thrall you kill, like let's say you kill 3 thralls, it's gonna add 3 more rockets to that volley to let you kill 3 more thralls. I would love to see like certain areas of strikes I'm definitely thinking of now where you could go not quite infinite, but you could really make the most of this perk and absolutely wipe out an area of ads. That would be so fun to use. Now that was really all of the history and the information that we knew about the Dubious Volley rocket launcher until a few days ago. Because what happened a few days ago with this weapon specifically was very interesting. Travis Brady, the art director at Highwire Games, posted these two images. Clearly, it's a pre-rendered version of, well, I shouldn't say pre-rendered, I don't know the exact terminology for it, but it's an early version of the Dubious Volley rocket launcher. Like, it just clearly is the Dubious Volley. So, what is the art director at Highwire Games Studio doing posting the Dubious Volley? Well, he used to work at Bungie. In fact, Highwire Games, the studio, was founded by ex-Bungie employees who left Bungie due to reasons that I won't get into right now, but in any event, this guy, Travis Brady, posted this image because he probably worked on this weapon while he was at Bungie Studios, and he's just adding this to his portfolio. You know, artists want to do that all the time. They want to say, look at what I made. Now that, in and of itself, was pretty cool. We got a new look at the Dubious Volley. We actually get to see what it might kind of look like in-game. In fact, local artist Benjamin Radiman, who does the exotic weapons for the fan-made exotics series that comes every 2 weeks on this channel, he made this image actually showing a more realistic take at what the Dubious Volley may look like if it was actually introduced into Destiny. So that is pretty damn cool. But things get even more interesting because only a few hours after Travis Brady posted those two images, it was taken down from his personal art station. Now that is really the most interesting part to me of the events over the last few days, that it was taken down. Because think about it. What could possibly lead to him putting the image up, obviously just wanting to show what he's created in his art portfolio, and then it getting taken down? Well, really the only logical reason behind why it was taken down is that Bungie probably contacted them and said, look, this is still our intellectual property, take it down. Now, it probably wasn't mean-spirited. I don't think there was probably a threat of a lawsuit or anything. They just emailed or phoned and just said, hey, this is still our property, take it down. Now, the obvious connection and the obvious step forward that a lot of fans are going to want to make from that point is to say that, well, if Bungie is still maintaining that they have property on this image and they don't want too many people seeing this image, maybe they're planning to finally put the Dubious Volley into the game. And that definitely makes sense. Again, literally every other hidden exotic that we know about was added into Destiny. The Dubious Volley is the last one. We already know from yesterday's weekly update that Bungie is going to make another live event, at least one more live event for Destiny in 2017. They added the Zen Meteor with the April update. Maybe they will finally add the Dubious Volley into the game with this last live update in 2017. I mean, if they truly couldn't get this weapon to work and are never going to put it into Destiny, what's the harm at letting the artist who created it put this image up on his personal art station, you know? And again, that's the most kind of logical argument that most people are going to make. However, from a business and legal perspective, it does also make sense, even if they aren't currently planning on putting this weapon into the game, to just protect your intellectual property. Not even intellectual property, but just protect your property. Bungie technically owns the designs to this weapon, and maybe just thought, we aren't planning on making it, but we'd like the option to maybe make it, so we still want to hang on to these designs. Either way, I think the fact that Bungie forced him to take down the image makes this weapon more likely to be put into Destiny at a later date than less likely. And so guys, that is the entire history of what is now the last hidden exotic for Destiny, the Dubious Volley exotic rocket launcher. Hopefully we can see it soon in 2017. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it interesting. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. But on 2017 YouTube, subbing does absolutely nothing. So if you actually want to be notified of new uploads, make sure to press the bell beside subscribe. If you guys want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus. That's linked in the description down below, as is my Twitch channel, which you can also follow. Again, I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, have a good day.